They say the week before your wedding is the most stressful, a blur of RSVPs, seating charts, and last-minute fittings. But nobody tells you it might also be the week you find out the person you're about to promise forever to, was never planning to keep their side of the deal. My name's Eric. I was supposed to get married last May. Instead, I ended up handing my fiancée a manila folder, the kind used for tax audits and corporate memos, full of photos from her pre-wedding girls' trip. Photos she didn't know existed. Photos that didn't match the story she told me. But let me back up. Her name's Vanessa. We met 4 years ago, on a rainy Tuesday in a coffee shop where we both reached for the same muffin. She laughed, let me have it, and I offered to split it instead. That half a blueberry muffin moment turned into drinks, then into weekend brunches, then into long, late-night phone calls where we talked about everything and nothing. Vanessa was warm, stylish, and magnetic in that way that made people lean in when she talked. I used to joke she could sell sunscreen in a snowstorm. I wasn't flashy. I worked in logistics, kept my t-shirts folded by color, and never left dishes in the sink overnight. We balanced each other. I kept things steady. She kept things interesting. Or so I thought. 6 months before the wedding, her mother, Linda, started planning a pre-wedding girls' trip. Tradition, they said. Something Linda did with her own sisters and wanted to pass down. Just the two of them. A long weekend in Miami, fancy hotel, spa days, maybe a few dresses for the honeymoon. Vanessa lit up when she talked about it. Said it would be one last bonding trip before marriage changed the dynamics. I said it sounded perfect. Told her to relax, soak it in, and text me lots of pictures. She didn't. That was the first flag. When she landed, she sent a selfie from the hotel lobby, her and her mom, sunglasses, smiles, pool in the background. But something about it looked stiff. Like a picture taken for someone else's sake. Then 3 days went by. Barely a message. A few emojis. One busy day, text followed by silence. I told myself not to panic. They were probably spa hopping, margaritas in hand. I even joked to my best man that I felt like a clingy boyfriend from a teen movie. He said, "Don't overthink it, man. Vanessa's not that type." But when she came back, she was different. I picked her up from the airport. Her hug felt hollow. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. On the drive home, she stared out the window like she was watching a movie only she could see. That night, she said she was exhausted. Jet lag, even though it was just a 2-hour flight. She went to bed early. The next morning, she told me she needed space. Said she wasn't sure if this was what she wanted. That maybe we'd rushed into it. That she loved me but felt disconnected. I asked if something happened in Miami. She paused just long enough for me to know the answer was yes, even if she didn't say it. No, she finally said. I just need time. I nodded. And then I went to the drawer where I'd stashed the manila folder. Because here's the thing, I wanted to believe her. I really did. But 3 days into that girl's trip, I got a DM from someone I barely knew, a guy who worked with my cousin, who happened to be in Miami that same weekend. He sent me a photo. Said, "Hey man, hate to stir the pot, but isn't this your fiancée?" It was Vanessa. Not with her mom. But with a man I'd never seen before. Dinner. Wine. Hands too close to be professional. 1 photo turned into 3. 3 turned into 7. 7 into a full, time-stamped record of her weekend, one that didn't include a single image of Linda. I didn't confront her then. I waited. I watched. I gave her the chance to come clean. She didn't. So when she said she needed space, I nodded. Got up. Came back with the folder. "I figured you might," I said. "This should help." She took it like she was accepting a medical diagnosis. The weight of it hit before she even opened it. She didn't open the folder right away. She just stared at it, like it might catch fire in her hands, or disappear if she blinked enough times. Vanessa always had a good poker face. That was part of her charm. She could sell you a lie in silk wrapping and make you thank her for it. But right then, her hands were trembling, and no words came. So I opened it for her. I pulled the first photo out, a glossy print of her sitting on a rooftop bar, golden hour light on her face, champagne glass in hand. The man next to her wasn't her mother. He was younger than Linda, older than me, sharp jawline, linen shirt unbuttoned one too far, sunglasses perched like he was born in them. I slid it across the coffee table between us. She didn't touch it. I don't, she started, but stopped. Her voice cracked like it had tripped over its own lie. There's more, I said, reaching into the folder. Here's one at dinner. Here's one on a boat. Here's one where you're holding hands while walking into what looks like a hotel that wasn't the one you said you were staying in. She flinched at that last one. Not dramatically. Just enough for me to know it landed. She finally looked up at me. Eric, Don't, I said, calmly. Don't lie to me again. I've got timestamps, locations, and 2 different people who sent me these photos, people who didn't even know each other. One of them thought I already knew. She opened her mouth. Closed it. And then the mask dropped. I didn't plan for it to happen, she said, so softly I almost missed it. That's when I sat down. Not because I was tired, but because I wanted to be eye level with the version of her I hadn't seen before. The version who didn't get to script the conversation in her head first. How long? I asked. Just the weekend. You flew across the country with a suitcase full of swimsuits to cheat on me for the first time. That's your story. Her jaw tightened. I wasn't going to. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Vanessa? Enlighten me. She rubbed her temples like the truth was giving her a migraine. He's someone I used to know. That caught me off guard. Used to? She nodded. Before you. Before us. We met years ago. It didn't work out. Timing, distance, whatever. But when my mom and I were planning the trip, I saw he lived near Miami now. I messaged him. Just to say hi. I laughed, bitter, short. And next thing you knew, he was rubbing sunscreen on your back and ordering oysters for 2. Her eyes hardened. You don't know the full story. I know enough, I said. I know you lied about the trip. You lied about who you were with. You lied to my face when you got back. And you had every chance to come clean. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said something that stopped me cold. My mom knows. That landed like a brick. Linda. She knew you were meeting him. Vanessa nodded slowly. Not the whole thing. I didn't tell her you know. But she knew he'd be around. She knew I needed to clear my head. She encouraged it. Now, I've never been close with Linda. We tolerated each other. She thought I was too safe, too structured. Said Vanessa needed passion, not stability. But I never imagined she'd co-sign infidelity. Jesus, I whispered. She helped orchestrate it. She didn't think it would go that far. She just thought, maybe I had doubts I needed to figure out. I sat back, the room spinning slow and steady. I had spent the last 2 months planning a wedding where the bride was testing the water with her ex and the mother of the bride was holding the towel. Vanessa leaned forward. Eric, I still want to marry you. I stared at her. No, I said. You want the version of me that doesn't know any of this happened. She looked like she'd been slapped. And maybe she had, just not by my hand. By the truth. She whispered, so what now? I stood up, looked down at the folder, now half spilled across the table. What now? I repeated. Now I decide whether I still want to marry you, the real you. The one who flew to Miami and tried to rewrite the ending of a story we hadn't even finished. I walked out before she could answer. And I didn't look back. I didn't go back to our apartment that night. Didn't want to sleep in the bed we picked out together, on sheets she'd ironed while talking about our honeymoon. Didn't want to sit on our couch pretending Netflix could drown out the sound of trust cracking under its own weight. I crashed at Mark's place, my best man, my oldest friend, and the kind of guy who doesn't ask, why, when you show up on his doorstep with a duffel bag and a face like you've just walked away from a plane crash. He opened the door, took one look at me, and said, say less. Guest rooms made up. I didn't talk much that night. Told him the basics, the trip, the folder, the guy in the photos. Left out the part about her mom knowing. I couldn't bring myself to say it out loud again. It made the betrayal too big, too systemic. Like I hadn't just lost a partner. I'd lost the idea of the family we were supposed to build. I slept for maybe 2 hours. Spent most of the night staring at the ceiling fan, playing back every moment in our relationship like a courtroom deposition. The late-night road trips. The IKEA fights. The time she cried in the parking lot after her job interview, and I held her in silence until she could breathe again. Were those moments real? Or just good performances? The ring was still in my pocket. I'd taken it off before I left. A simple band. Platinum. Engraved on the inside with, "Still us," because she used to say that when we made it through hard days. Still us. I tucked it into the drawer of Mark's nightstand. The sound it made, that dull little clink, broke something in me. Like the final note in a song that should have ended differently. At 2:13 a.m., my phone buzzed. I didn't check the screen. I already knew. Voicemail. No text. I waited 10 minutes, then pressed play. Vanessa's voice, quiet. Wrecked. Eric, please don't hang up. I know I don't have the right to ask for anything. But I need to say this. I messed up. I know that. You don't even have to say it. I want you to know it wasn't about him. It was about me. About fear. About not knowing who I am outside of you. She paused. Long enough I thought the message had ended. Then. But even with all that, I didn't expect it to hurt like this. To feel like I already lost the life we were building. I thought I was testing something, but I think what I really did was destroy it. Another pause. I'll give you space. I won't text again. I'm sorry. And I still love you. Click. I sat there in the dark, phone screen dimming in my hand, listening to the quiet that came after. Not rage. Not grief. Just a kind of nothingness that comes when the person you loved sets fire to the house you built together, and you're left standing outside with the keys in your hand. Mark must have heard me get up. He knocked once on the guest room door and said, "You good?" I didn't answer at first. Then said, "Not yet." He waited a beat. "Let me know when you want to be." I sat on the edge of the bed the rest of the night, turning the ring over in my fingers like it might give me an answer. But all it gave me was silence. And sometimes, silence is a decision. 3 days after the folder hit the table, I drove out to the venue. Not to save the wedding, I wasn't even sure I believed in it anymore, but to see the place with clear eyes. The last time we'd visited, I'd been high on hope and vanilla cake samples. This time, I pulled into the gravel driveway with the weight of 1,000 invisible questions riding shotgun. The place was beautiful. It always had been. A renovated barn with whitewashed wood, string lights over the courtyard, a little hilltop view of the valley where we'd planned to say our vows. Vanessa had loved that hill. Said it felt like standing on the edge of something big. I'd agreed, because back then, we thought we were about to jump into something together. I sat on one of the benches we picked for the ceremony, second row, center aisle. The seat where her mother would have been. And that's when she showed up. Linda. She didn't look surprised to see me. I guess when your daughter admits she might have detonated her own engagement, you keep your eyes open. She walked toward me with that familiar grace, all pearls and posture, like she still thought she was the matriarch of some dynasty, not a woman whose advice had lit the match under her own daughter's life. "Eric," she said. I nodded. Didn't stand. She sat beside me, hands folded in her lap like she was waiting for church to start. "I heard you moved out." "Temporarily," I said. "For now." A pause. "Then, Vanessa's heartbroken." I laughed, just once, dry. "She has a strange way of showing it." "She made a mistake," Linda said, gently. "People do, especially when they're scared." I turned to her. "Did you encourage her to meet him?" She hesitated. And in that pause, I got my answer. "I didn't think it would go that far," she said, finally. I thought, she needed to feel what else was out there before she walked into forever. I thought it would help her commit. I stared at her like she'd just spoken in a foreign language. "You thought testing her commitment with a weekend escape to her ex would help our marriage?" "She didn't sleep with him," Linda said quickly. That caught me. "How would you know?" "She told me." "Oh, well then," I said, standing. "If she said so." Linda stood too. Reached for my arm. "Eric, she loves you. But love isn't always enough." She was doubting herself, not you. Then she should have had the courage to tell me, not go play house in Miami while I was at home folding wedding favors. She dropped her hand. And then, for the first time since I'd met her, Linda looked uncertain. "She doesn't know how to fix this." I shook my head. "That's because it might not be fixable." She started to speak again, but I stopped her with a glance. "I came here to say goodbye to the version of this wedding that still felt honest. Not to be convinced by the person who helped make it dishonest." Linda didn't follow me when I walked away. Didn't call out. Didn't apologize. She just stayed by that bench, hands still clasped, eyes on the hilltop like maybe she was hoping to find her dignity up there. Back in the car, I looked at the confirmation folder in my passenger seat, deposits, vendor lists, menus, guest counts. I stared at it a long time. Then I opened the glove box, took out the ring box, and set it on top. There was no dramatic music. No storm. No teary epiphany. Just a quiet moment where I finally let go of the version of this life that didn't include me fully, the me who deserved truth, not placeholders. Canceling a wedding isn't one call. It's dozens. Florist. Caterer. DJ. Photographer. The band Vanessa loved because they didn't feel too wedding-y. I made the calls one by one, voice steady, tone polite, like I was calling about a change in an office meeting and not the collapse of a life I'd spent years building. Everyone was sympathetic. Some waived cancellation fees without me even asking. The photographer, a guy named Derek, said, "You're not the first, and you won't be the last, but I hope you're okay, man." Seriously. I wasn't. Not really. But I was finally clear. And clarity, even when it comes with heartbreak, is a kind of peace. The guest list came next. We had a group chat, Eric and Vanessa's big day, complete with emojis and countdown gifs. Friends. Cousins. People flying in from 2 time zones over. We'd used it for updates, hotel blocks, dress codes, questions about gifts. Now, it was the place where the truth would land. I kept it short. "Hey everyone. I wanted to let you know the wedding has been called off. No need to reach out, just wanted to respect your time and travel plans. Appreciate the love and support. Wishing you all the best. I didn't name names. Didn't throw blame. But people read between lines better than you'd think. The first few replies were what you'd expect. So sorry, man. Thinking of you. Here if you need anything. Heartbreaking. Let us know how we can help. Then someone asked, gently. Is Vanessa okay? I didn't answer. Didn't have to. Because 15 minutes later, someone added her to the chat. And it blew up. She didn't respond. Not right away. But people did. Turns out, one of Vanessa's college friends had seen the photos, same Miami rooftop, same linen shirt man. She'd been quiet until now. But silence has a shelf life. She dropped a message that lit the whole chat on fire. I'm sorry to be the one to say this, but I saw Vanessa in Miami. She wasn't alone. And it wasn't her mom. I didn't want to cause problems, but I also don't want to pretend like Eric is the one who walked away for no reason. The chat paused like the air got sucked out of the room. And then it turned. Not viciously, just honestly. People started backing me. Eric, I'm sorry. I had no idea. You didn't deserve that. Thank you for handling this with grace. That couldn't have been easy. Still, she didn't reply. Not until the next morning. At 6:47 a.m., I got a text. Just me. Not the group chat. I know you probably won't read this. But I need to say it anyway. It came as a long paragraph. She admitted to meeting her ex, said it started as a what-if conversation and spiraled into something she hadn't expected. She said she didn't sleep with him, but that didn't matter, because the betrayal had already happened. She told me I didn't do anything wrong. She told me I was steady in all the right ways, and that some part of her had mistaken safe for settling. Then she wrote the part that hit me hardest. I realize now that love isn't supposed to feel like escape. It's supposed to feel like home. And you were that. You were home. I just didn't know how to stay. No excuses. No please. Just regret, raw and clear. I didn't write back. Not because I wanted to punish her. But because some endings don't need punctuation. Just a page turn. I sat with the text for a while. Let it sit on the screen. Then I did something I hadn't done in weeks. I got up. Went for a run. Felt the wind in my lungs and the ache in my legs. And for the first time since Miami, I didn't feel stuck. I felt forward. A month after what would have been our wedding day, I got a letter in the mail. Not a text. Not an email. A real letter. Envelope. Stamp. My name written in her handwriting, which I recognized instantly, even without opening it. She used to leave me notes like that, "Don't forget your lunch," or "You left your socks on the counter, again." Casual, warm, hers. I let it sit on the kitchen table for a day. Maybe two. By then, the apartment was quiet. Not empty, exactly, I'd moved back in, reclaimed the space, but everything had shifted. The seating arrangement on the couch. The mugs in the cabinet. The echo of a life that almost was. When I finally opened the letter, it was 2 pages. Neat. No scribbles. Every word carefully chosen. She didn't rehash what happened. Didn't beg for a second chance. Instead, she talked about what she was learning. About herself. About us. I thought I needed adventure, she wrote, but what I really needed was clarity. And I got it, the hard way. You don't deserve to be somebody's lesson, Eric. But you were. And I'm sorry for that. She said she didn't expect forgiveness, but hoped I found peace. She said she hoped I found someone who saw me for who I was, not just the comfort I offered, but the strength I carried quietly. Then she ended with this. If you ever wonder if you were enough, let me be clear, you were. I just wasn't ready for the kind of love that didn't need to be chased. I folded the letter. Didn't cry. Didn't rage. Just exhaled. And in that breath, I felt something loosen. Like a knot that had held too long. I didn't write her back. Not because I didn't care. But because some stories don't need sequels. They just need a clean shelf to rest on. And mine. It was time to start something new. So I did. I changed the locks. Not out of spite, but symbolism. Repainted the walls. Donated the extra wine glasses. I even took a trip, solo, to the mountains. No itinerary. No expectations. Just me, a cabin, and the quiet. Up there, I realized something that should have been obvious all along. Love that's afraid of stillness isn't love. It's distraction. And the right kind of love. It doesn't make you question your worth. It reminds you of it. The wedding didn't happen. The honeymoon suite stayed empty. The cake never got cut. But what I got instead was something better. Truth. A life unhitched from lies. And the chance to choose someone, someday, who chooses me back, fully, without flinching. And when that day comes, there won't be any manila folders. No secret stuffed into a carry-on bag. Just two people, fully present. No detours. No ghosts. Just home.